All right, welcome everyone. The agenda for the Shire of Perenjori Ordinary Meeting of Council held on Wednesday the 16th of April at the Shire Council Chambers at 3 p.m. I'll open the meeting at 3 o'clock and welcome everyone in attendance. In accordance with the Local Government Regulations 1996, this meeting will be recorded and made publicly available on the Shire's website with publication of meeting minutes. As per the Shire of Perenjori policy, we wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which the Shire of Perenjori is situated and to demonstrate respect for the original custodians. I respectfully acknowledge the past and present traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting, the Budimar people. It is a privilege to be standing on Budimar country. I'd like to join me in opening prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, now and forever. Amen. I acknowledge the pioneers who settled this country, developed the land and turned it into the productive country we know today. Right. Item 3, the disclaimer. Number 4, record of attendance. Apologies. Members, we have apologies from Councillor Fraser. Staff. Is Paul an apology or
He can be.
CEO Paul Anderson is also an apology. No distinguished visitors today, no members of the public, and we have no leave of absence. Public question time, response to questions taken on notice. We don't have any. No. And questions without notice. No, we have none. Applications for leave of absence for any future meetings. Do I have any applications? No? All right. Item 7. Confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. 7.1 Ordinary Council meeting held on the 20th of March. Can I have someone to move those minutes, please? Councillor Bradford, seconded Councillor Bryant. Councillor Bradford, would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Bryant. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. Item 8, announcements by presiding member without discussion, which I have none. Item 9, petitions, deputations and presentations, we have none. Announcements of matters for which meeting may be closed, we have none. And any declaration of interest. I haven't got any before me. If there is any during the meeting, just let me know. Okay.
Back one page.
Oh, no,
that's the last one.
no, it's okay. Is that okay? Yep. All right, item 12.1, the monthly financial report for the 31st of March 2025. I have someone to move the motion, please. Councillor Hepworth, and seconded Councillor Bradford. Councillor Hepworth, would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Bradford, would you like to speak?
No.
Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. Item 12.2, schedule of financial activity for the period ended 31st of March 2025. Have someone to move the item. Councillor Bryant, seconder. Councillor Campbell. Councillor Bryant, would you like to speak to the item?
Nothing.
Councillor Bryant? No. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. 12.3 differential rates for 2025-26. Would anyone like to either move the item or suspend standing orders?
I'd like to spend standing orders. We've got a few points to go through.
Yes, I have a seconder for that, please. Councillor Bradford. So Councillor Bryant moved it, Councillor Bradford seconded. All in favour? Carried 6-0. All right, where is the item there? Would you like to speak to the item, Councillor Bryant, or do you want a rundown of what's in the
I think
recommendation?
rundown, please. Yeah.
Yep. Would you like to do that rundown? Yeah. Finance Manager, would you like to do that?
So as we know, each year we have to adopt what we're going to increase our rates by, and we have to adopt the objects and reasons for that, and the draft advertisement that will be advertised, and the draft budget rate setting statement, which shows our expected budget for next year with our rate increase in it. The paper's been prepared and presented at a 4% increase with a 5% discount given, and that gives us a net revenue of $192,731. That's what, if everyone takes up the rate discount, that's what our rate, additional rate revenue will be next year. And as was discussed at the last forum, just in wages, super and alone, we need around 133,000 extra next year. That's without taking into consideration any increase in CPI that people pass on to us, like and waste and other creditors that we have. I just recommended the 4% with the 5% discount, mainly because our long-term future plan always had us sitting at an expected 4% rate increase. And if we drop the discount down to the 5%, then it gives us enough to help cover extra expenses next year. Whereas if we increased it higher, like at 5 or 6%, but still left it at the 7.5% discount like it is now, we'd actually get less revenue. So 4% with a 5% discount appeared to be the best option at the time.
Is the 4% supposed to? Is it in the resolution? Are we supposed to have that in the resolution, or the?
Oh, you're saying it's not actually in the resolution, but it's in the.
And do we have? It says we've got the 5% discount, but yeah, do we have to say that we change it from 7.5 to 5%?
No, we're
just saying
we're just adopting the
Is that what the
discount.
What's the minimum rate 442? Where do we see the 4? Is that supposed to be in the resolution? The 4%.
No, it doesn't actually have to say the 4%.
Doesn't have to say how much we're putting it up by.
In the advertisement, it's the rate in the dollar. This was the same one that was last year, so I assume that it's totally correct, because I had no trouble at all with the department last year. Sorry, I'm just checking the resolutions.
I see it's in the notes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the notes, and this is, so the figures here, the minimum rate and the rate in the dollar is with that 4% increase.
Yeah.
In the recommendation, and then at the the bottom for point 4 is the adoption of the 5% discount. So we don't have to say it's a reduction from 7.5. We'll just say it's
just going to be 5, and they've got to find the 4% in the.
And you'll note in the draft advertisement, it also states that. It says that the Shire intends to impose differential rates and minimum rates, payments and details below. It is to be noted that after the valuations have been updated from the Valuer General, the rate in the dollar will be updated to achieve the advertised rate yield.
Yeah.
And the advertised rate yield, I know it's not stated in the document, but it is in our attachment.
Yeah.
And so that just means that when the rate, we get to advertise it on time, we get to adopt our budget on time, because they get approval on time. But what happens is when the valuations come through at the end of May, see, if we waited till then for the valuations, we would not be able to advertise until June. Right, so we do it the opposite way around now. We advertise we choose what we feel we need to make in revenue, and then I do these rate in the dollars to achieve that yield.
Yeah.
And then when the valuation comes in, it adjusts all the values that we have in the system. I then go in and adjust the rate in the dollar so that we still achieve the yield we want.
Yeah.
The
So we're still
4%.
achieving the same yield.
Yeah.
It's just the rate in the dollar will alter to reflect the changes in the valuations.
Yeah, so that rate in the dollar there, 1.26 on the UV rural, that's the 4%, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what the
that's-
yeah.
that's
So
the
the old one
increases
would have been
at
1.2 or 1.
Like,
Yeah,
was it
9,
11
one of
cents or something?
If
Yeah.
there is an increased valuations like there has been the last 3 years, you'll find that that'll actually drop. Because if they increase the values, then it naturally makes it, if we had that rate in the dollar, we'd be getting a lot more yield. We don't want a lot more yield, we want that yield.
Yeah,
And that's what you're adopting. You're adopting a yield rather than people get sort of wound up with the rate in the dollar and how much each one's being charged, but it's all, in the end result, what it is the yield. The yield.
which is what we want, the 4%, we want the 4% in there.
Yes, yes. So even if the valuation changes, you still get your 4%.
Yeah, that's all we want, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And that rate yield will be in the advertised bit anyway, because it's in that particular document.
So this
Anyway,
advertisement goes in the paper,
Yeah,
sent out everywhere. If people want to actually see our exact yield that we want, they then look up the agenda item and they see our rate setting statement, which is attached.
yeah, okay. All right.
How
Any
much did we raise in the last few years? It's more than 4 though, isn't it?
It was 5% last year, and prior to that it was less. I'd have to,
Yeah.
sorry, we had all that, but
It was 5.
Yeah, sorry, I missed the last
I think
one.
it was
The
5.
year
last year.
before was a lot higher.
no, last year was
No, last year.
5%.
I mean,
And
4 years
There
ago.
wasn't higher before that,
That's what it
no.
was on that, when we're looking at.
It was like 4 or
Yeah.
5 all the time, or 3, it was never higher than 5.
Yeah. Straight after COVID, it was low. I don't think we had a
Because during the COVID
Zero,
years,
isn't
we
it?
couldn't raise it at all.
zero. Yeah, that's right.
So if they go up, if it goes up 4% and you pay it, you pay it on time, so you get the 5% discount, are you saving an extra percent by paying it?
Depends
early?
how much your rates are.
Yeah,
It just
okay,
depends
yeah.
on the value of the
Yeah.
rates, because it's, it is the yield that's going up. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to be an even
No, yeah.
4%,
I would argue 4 is not enough on its own, but with a 2.5% discount, then it's sort of.
That's where we,
It worked out.
that's where we went with
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out to be 6.5, what is it?
Yes,
6.5.
Yeah,
you just mentioned something, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. that's
So
right.
basically, with the 4% discount and the 5% discount and 4% increase, you end up with about a 5.58% increase on your revenue.
That's what we did there.
Yeah.
Because even though because we work off our actuals with our rates, and that's how we figure out from our actuals what we want to increase this year's actuals to be. But remembering that we budget for everyone to take the discount,
Yeah, that's right.
and then not everyone takes it, so your budget's always a different scenario to your actuals with your rates in the end because of the budget, because of that discount. Yeah. And because we raise the 4%, say, on the actuals, then you have a discount that comes in which varies. So, if you don't go by the actuals to do it, then you're not getting a true increase. But it's also not, once the budget, the discount comes in, it's not always a 4% increase because you've you've applied a discount. So yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone clear?
Yep,
on that?
thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
thank you very much.
Can I have someone to resume standing orders? Councillor Hepworth, seconded Councillor Sparkman. All in favour? Carried 6-0. So they go back to the recommendation at 12.3. Can I have someone to move the recommendation? Councillor Bryant, seconded Councillor Bradford. Councillor Bryant, would you like to speak to them?
No, it's fine,
Item,
thank you.
Councillor Bradford.
All good, thank you.
Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0, which is an absolute majority. Go to 12.4, which is the write-off of various assets. Can I have someone to move?
Oh,
Yes.
can I suspend standing
You
orders?
can. Councillor Campbell, can I have a seconder? Councillor Sparkman, all in favour? Carried 6-0. Councillor Campbell.
Yes, so I'm just gathering this is obviously stuff that we don't use anymore, or is it's,
No, so what it is, there's a regulation that states that anything under $5,000 when you purchase it isn't to go into your fixed asset register.
Okay, yep.
It's local assets basically. And back in November 2020, that's when they adopted that everyone had to clean out their asset registers and make sure there was nothing that was purchased under $5,000 in the asset register. And when I was undertaking the review of the asset register, due to the depreciation and such after the auditor's report, I noted that these items that I've got on this report, down to the last two, were all under $5,000, so they literally should, we've still got them, but they should not have been in
we
the
still
asset
physically have
register
them, yeah, apart from
themselves.
the Captiva and the fire truck,
Yeah,
okay.
so they shouldn't have been in the asset register at all, so they will get removed from the asset register. To do that, I have to say that they were disposed of for zero, which will give us a loss, a book loss, a balance sheet loss, not a cash loss. And then the Holden Captiva and that old Latham fire truck, they were in there as a zero written down value, but they were still in the system. So they'd fully depreciated over the years. They're still there. That for some reason, the finance team at the time had never taken them out of the asset register. I just need to remove them to clean the asset register up. They'll have no value.
Sorry, what's the hit up wall, brick?
Tennis ball.
Ah,
Yeah, some of the asset names I don't even know.
no, very good, thank you.
Steel dugout?
I was going to say. Still dug it.
That we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
I think it must be something in the show.
yeah, I'd say so. All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Can I have someone to resume standing orders? Councillor Hepworth and Councillor Sparkman seconded. All in favour? Carried 6-0. Can I have someone to recommend the item, please? Councillor Campbell, Councillor Sparkman seconded. Councillor Campbell, do you want to speak to the
No, thank
item?
you.
Councillor
No, thank you.
Sparkman. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. All right, item 12.5, the elected members' fees, allowances and expenses for 2025-26. Can I have someone to move the item?
I'll suspend standing orders.
Councillor Hepworth to suspend standing orders. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Bradford, all in favour? Carried 6-0. Councillor Hepworth.
Yeah, just a query on the amount of work that our president does, basically. I think she's probably out of pocket on a fair few occasions. She gets her allowance and that's it, but all those meetings and that she goes to, she doesn't actually seek or get reimbursement, which does confuse me a bit, but...
Well, I could say the same for your regional road group meetings and your health meetings. And I think it's really, it's a good thing to talk about because I don't think, and I'm talking just generally, I don't think you should undervalue your time, and it's important to compensate people who put time and effort into these positions. I don't want to lose councillors because perhaps they don't feel valued either, and I think it's important to make sure that this reimbursement, which is, you know, when you think of your time and your maintenance on your car and services and tyres and all that sort of stuff and fuel but you know, time and your expertise, quite often you go to a meeting and you're the only one that's actually not getting paid in the room when you go to these meetings. So I think it's worth a discussion, absolutely.
So So does the, for the point that Councillor Hepworth made, can the President and the Deputy claim on these meetings, or you
No,
can't, or you
I've-
just choose not to?
I've
or-
tried to, but no, you can't.
No.
No, they're
Could
not
we
under
change
the,
that?
they're not under the committee meetings or something
Yeah,
as
so it's a
such.
committee meeting.
So you can't actually claim to
Travel
go
one.
to, you know, your Northern Zone meeting or your regional, or you can do travel on that, but,
I think, yeah.
and the health meeting, I don't think Les would be able to claim on. The Northern Zone meeting you can't, so yeah, I don't know why, but it's not under that.
No, but you can use a council car
Yes,
vehicle, yeah.
yes.
Like, it would be possible, I don't know, like the president or the vice president, can they get a Shire credit card to use for fuel, or you can't do
No.
that? No.
That gets.
No, I mean, in your own name, like, then you go through it at each meeting of what you
I
can't
don't
do.
think you can do
No,
that
okay.
anyway,
No.
because
mean,
if
it's
I
for
can't,
fuel, and if you've got to stay the night, you've got,
yeah, correct. Otherwise, you just claim for travel
okay, yeah.
anyway, and then get reimbursed or.
But I totally understand where councillor West comes
So
from.
there's no
Your
legislative-
your time and your travel and
No
that.
legislative government thing for it,
No, it's done for council meetings.
for any other meetings, just for you guys at all. That's what you get and that's it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you say, Madam President, you're the only ones in the room that aren't paid for those meetings, so you can, there is some way that we can change that so that you can get claim for those meetings. Is that what you're saying?
Or do we have to change the Shire? We just change with our own Shire to do it?
The
Is that
only
them?
way
Is
to
the
do it
Shire
would be to
paying?
change this, but you can't, so if I go to a LEMAC meeting and councillor Hepworth would be the same with some of his meetings, you've got all your departments there, who are obviously all getting paid to be there, you know, and the regional group I don't know what other shires do. Some shires don't pay as much as we do, and some pay more. So it's up to us, I suppose, how we work that out. But I think this is the only way you can change
Well,
that.
that's what my question was.
Yeah,
Yeah, are we better off changing this, giving the President and the Vice President a bit more in this to compensate for some of the stuff that extra they're doing?
What's the maximum for a Band 4 president can get?
well, that's a
That is the,
well,
That's
that
maximum
is
and
see,
the deputy's 5, is it?
yeah.
the bottom annual allowance is I do get the maximum.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
22.
Yes,
Can I
sorry.
just suggest, with the annual attendance fee, so what you get for your actual meetings,
Yeah,
not your president or vice president fee, that can be adjusted, and I don't know when it was made the way it is, the president has always got less than the council members
Yeah.
to sit in the council meeting, because I think it is because of the way that they chose to pay the president in the actual allowance is
Yeah.
up there.
that's right.
But you could definitely look at adjusting the actual attendance fees to increase them to take into account other meetings.
Yeah, I think that's all it would. That's the most logical thing to
Yeah.
do. Yes. And
So, Jude's councillor meeting attendance fees is 13.21 for the final quarter. Everyone else got 19.28.
Yes, the president, for some reason, it's always been adopted, the president receives less in the attendance fees in lieu of monthly fees than what the council members do. But the council members, of course, that's their only payment, the president gets their
That's
allowance.
right.
yeah, that's right.
And do you get allowance plus the 1928, what we got, or whatever, is that right? Do you get the same as us? Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely you could look at and decide as a council to increase the president's attendance
Yeah.
fee in lieu of monthly fees to anything up to the maximum of 21,000.
So that must be a percentage. Is it 25%? 20, about 25% of the annual attendance fees. Is that correct?
So if we matched the President's attendance fees to the rest of us, is that possible to do?
Sorry?
Is it possible to match your attendance fees
To yours.
to everyone else's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. As I say, her attendance fee can go up to maximum of $21,880.
Where are you getting
I
that
think
figure
that's
from?
a lot in,
In the stat maximum, it's in the body of the document.
on the next page, I
Back
think.
page?
Or,
Back one page.
So it's first page of the agenda, item 12.5, elected member.
and just what councillors are looking at that, so the independent committee member, that has changed as well, hasn't it, in the resolution, saying that they will be paid, because I think that's important as well. That's my understanding. Number 4,
The
council.
independent member attendance fee.
Yes.
That's for our audit committee when we get an independent
Yes,
member.
yes.
Yes, because 24-25 payments weren't applicable,
Yeah.
and the stat maximum is $450 a meeting.
And does that include the CEO recruitment, independent member?
No. I think that this is
I think it's
just.
just the audit committee.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, independent.
Oh, okay. So they don't necessarily get paid?
I thought they'd come under the independent committee member, wouldn't it?
Oh, I thought so.
We can look up that, we can look into that.
Independent committee member, the maximum. Anyway, I think it's being introduced, which I think is important, and we'll have a look and make sure,
Yeah.
see if that's eligible. Okay,
Okay. Yep, look into that.
look into that, okay.
So I'm agreeing
Right.
with Councillor Hepworth. I think we should lift the president's attendance fees up to the same as the rest of us.
And
Rest
that
of
we
the
can
councillors.
for some of the extra time we do
Yeah.
and travel.
That doesn't, when deputy president that goes to places, what,
Yeah.
how do you make up that time?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not actually doing this on my benefit, I'm doing it.
No, it's good, like I know it's with generalising, yeah, but, so, also, Councillor Bradford.
Oh, well, I'm going to drought resilient meetings or
Go
whatever,
That's
down
right.
yeah.
to meetings
I
and
mean-
that, what, do you get travel or do you
No.
get, no, you get nothing? So,
How do you, but we can't get that up for
You-
travel, claim for travel.
Well, that's
The travel's good, but what about the half a day that you lose, you know?
That's
Like,
probably
you
the
probably can earn
biggest.
more working
Yeah.
back there than here, yeah.
So
Right.
really, you should
You
be
could do open
putting a
up,
travel
really.
form in every time you go to a meeting, or you should be using one of our
Shire
vehicles.
so Councillor Bradford can do that then, can he? He can put in a travel form when he
For
goes to
meetings.
meetings.
But not a committee meeting here, so there's a committee meeting here, we don't.
No, like
But
you're
it's an
going
independent.
somewhere.
Yeah, which you do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could he put a claim form in if he's going from a meeting other than here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But is that right? 'Cause
Yep.
yeah, you
You're
can
saying
claim
all the same,
reimbursements
yeah.
for any travel that you have to do to.
what
Would that help? Would that help?
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I've been able to claim for any of the, like the Northern Zone meeting, the travel or whatever.
You should be able to, it comes
Yeah.
out to 0.5. It's reimbursed.
Expenses incurred.
Okay.
I know some other shires expect councillors to use the vehicles owned by the local government.
Yeah.
Probably so they don't have to pay so much out in reimbursements, but no, like, definitely you're entitled to reimbursements, but I didn't
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 0.5,
know
pretty
that
well.
you.
That's it,
Yep.
isn't it? Well, 0.5 and 6 basically covers that, doesn't it?
So it's sort of like, as you say,
6 is an independent committee
like
member.
the president's meeting one up, and then those that are going to go on any meetings can claim expenses. Because you can't put yours up anymore, can we? Because we're sort of at the,
and I won't claim it anyway.
no, but it's there if you.
It's already in
Yeah.
this point
And that
five
way-
though, because it's got the approves the reimbursement of expenses incurred by elected members in accordance with section 5, blah, blah. It's already, you're already adopting that you can claim back your travel costs and
Yeah.
expense incurred.
Yeah, okay. But that 7,700 that councillors get for council meetings, I guess what councillor Bradford is saying, which I tend to agree, is that it's more your time. I mean, I know you can reimburse your travel, and I get that, but it is more your half day
Yeah.
away from your
Loss of
business.
income, yeah.
You know, I don't know, I think that's, or is it 75% of the max, but you can't individualise that, so you can't, it's either all or none, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which is the tricky bit.
well, it kind of is a little bit, although, yeah, encourages people to do those committee
Yeah.
commitments, which is always the hard thing, the time.
How long are they set for?
12 months
Yeah,
till next
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're also running into a time where we're going to need to find new councillors as well. So whether extra financial incentive would help, I don't know, but just a comment.
It's tricky because you don't want people to come on just because they get paid, but you also want to make sure that the people that are here are compensated for what they do.
Yeah.
And that's that balance that you need to get right, isn't it? So.
Well, I do the wildflower thing and I went with Noel 2 times, but I went on my own once and I declined. That
Yeah.
was a menu,
That's right.
you know, so.
I just think, from my point of view, we'd be amazed how many hours our president does his my take on things, and how many extra meetings.
Oh, yeah. I tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got it easy, the rest of us, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I know we all do go to different things, but we've
Yeah,
we've
no,
got that.
no more than 2.
Yeah.
I do agree we need to try and get dues and entitlements up in our for presidents, in this case. President. To make it a
Still
bit more,
confused though. If we raise her council attendance fees, she can still go above the maximum, set maximum.
Not above the sat max.
No.
So whatever we change, it won't make any difference because you're on the.
No, this is the
There's two
annual
different ones.
attendance
Yeah, two
fees. So if you
different
look at those, I think we're talking about 2 different things.
Right.
So there's the bottom one, which is the annual allowance, which is the maximum
Yep.
that the president and the deputy get.
Yep.
And the one above it, the annual attendance fees, you'll see that the top one, the SAT maximum is 21,880
Yep.
and the 24-25 payment was 5,284.50.
Yep. Yep.
And then councillors
Yeah,
get
that's it, sorry. Yep.
the,
Yep.
I think it's probably about 75% of the 10,650. Yeah. Is that
Can we put that up to 7 or 8? Put it at $8,000 for yours?
Yeah.
just a percentage, just grab a percentage, was that easier?
Percentage? Yeah.
All right, good.
We can lay it on the table and.
Yeah, we'll come back to the next one. Do you want to do that?
Whatever you like.
I'm
I'm
to go
happy
ahead
with
now.
whatever.
I'm happy to go ahead.
We just need to put an amendment in here, don't we?
Yeah, just need to put-
Committees,
Pardon?
Yeah.
I get some more clarity on what committees,
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And bring it back to, means it won't affect the budget, it'll be fine for the budget.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? Lay it on the table and have another look at it next month with some more information.
Yep. All right, yep.
All right, yep, sounds,
Is that with that?
as long as you're happy with that, yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. We'll resume standing orders. Can I have someone to move it? Yep. Councillor Hepworth, the seconder. Councillor Sparkman. Where am I? All in favour? Carried 6-0. All right. The item 12.5. The elected members' fees, allowances and expenses for 2025-26. Can I have someone to move the recommendation? Councillor Brandt, would you like to move the recommendation?
Move that we lay it on table next month, get some more detail, please.
Yes, can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Bradford. Councillor Brandt, yeah. Add anything? No?
No, that does it.
Councillor Bradford.
No.
Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. 13.1, the Community Development and Services, the quarterly report for the council. A good summary over the last quarter. Can I have someone to move the recommendation? Councillor Hepworth. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Campbell. Councillor Hepworth, would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Campbell. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. 13.2 Townscape Committee meeting minutes.
Could I please suspend standing orders on that one?
Yes, councillor Statement to suspend standing orders. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Hepworth. All in favour? Carried 6-0. All right, councillor Sparkman.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to provide a bit of clarity on that one for the rest of the councillors, because when you read the officer comment, and it says basically you're reading 186,175, which is what is in the the townscape plan, of course. But and it basically says the installation of the banner in that part as well seems premature, considering that funding has not been secured for the interpretive centre area. The townscape don't really expect any of that now, so councils don't sort of think that we're asking for $186,000 now, because we're not. We know that there's no money, and we're just trying to do little spaces at a time with the interpretive centre. We do want to sort of go ahead a little bit with that, so we do want the banner, and the banner isn't going to be 6 metres long, because that seems quite extreme. So, we're just thinking probably half of that with 1.5 high, sitting in that space on that bottom photo, just as something very bright to say that this will be the interpretive centre, and watch this space, and we'll try and do much as a townscape committee ourselves to keep the expense down. And I think we may approach NAC and Yarra for some plantings and see if we can get some rocks and just get a little start ourselves, sort of thing. I just wanted to provide clarity on where we're at right now before you do the resolution. That's all, unless you have any questions for me. So I just sort of felt maybe as you were reading that you saw $186,000, 175, thinking no way, sort of thing. But that's not really what we're sort of doing at the moment. So we're just doing a few little projects for low cost, and want to move forward with mainly with the banner. And yeah, so that was just all I wanted to mention.
Councillor Sparkman, would you mind, is there anything that the projects that we've listed here, some of those have been completed or partly completed? That, like the top one, the street verge, has that been done? I'm just trying to get a handle on what's...
Where are you, sorry?
On the first page of 13.2.
Oh yes, sorry. Yep.
You've got 9 projects.
The street verge plantings were the other side, weren't they? And that was done, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
That was
right.
all
Yeah,
done.
that's
It
been done.
involved the school
Yep.
and all that, and that, so that, yeah, sort of thing. The Fowler Street pedestrian pavement, we did redevelopment, was sort of, when this was all coming about, the power was going underneath the footpath, talking about the shop and landscaping around that was important, so we just held off on that one.
Yeah.
And so the next would be the Aboriginal interpreter space, which that is a lot of money to develop that, but we have sort of talked about, like you have the quotes and that in here, but that seems really excessive, with a civil engineer and or structural engineer.
Yeah.
Was it structural?
Yeah.
The quotes in here seem really unrealistic. He did a great job putting the plan together, but the budget seems unrealistic. So, that budget seems to show up in the agenda, which is not really going to be correct. So, we're basically concentrating on the Aboriginal interpretive space in small doses, and the commercial hub connections, obviously, when it's ready to go, we definitely want to get that landscaped.
Are you talking about between the...
Yes, yeah.
Yep, okay.
And that was talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a thing. So yeah, those 2 things will be going forward next. The CBH timeline is Townscape's chair's passion sort of thing, and that sounds like it's going to be something really good, to get off the ground. But it seems really hard to do for whatever reason, because we need an structural engineer to get across that as well.
Yeah.
And that's...
Is that the only thing holding that project up? Or
I think it is.
I think it is because,
Yeah.
Robin has, she's got CBH on board. And
She's basically done everything
Yeah.
else, and we just need to get that over the line to move forward, and that's a cost. Is that not $9,000, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I struggle with because it's going to be 4, so less than 10 really tall sleepers. Like, it's not like we have a row of, you know, we've had a lot of bad years.
Oh, you took, yeah, that's right, in
Containers
the
or
big
whatever.
scheme of.
There's going to be, you don't need a structural engineer to put bloody,
But things are really tall ones.
you know, but 9 grand's worth.
Yeah,
It
to
just
have
seems
somebody
exorbitant to me as well.
to talk about how to get, I don't know if you can see that, Madam President, down the bottom, but to get that structure made, we need an engineer to do the last few years,
Oh,
to
yes.
say how that's going to go.
Yeah. Would that not be a good, I mean, I don't know, but I just think if that's the only thing holding that up, would that not be a good project to get on the ground? I think it would be really interesting.
Well,
I
it
just
will,
think it's
yeah,
quite
because,
fascinating. Yeah.
as everyone else seems to have the big of everything, the big track and all that, this seems to be like a really nice,
Well, I think it's a major attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's going to look really good.
Civil engineer, are they, I mean, I know, who's our last?
Neville,
Neville was.
Oh, Neville was,
engineer, wasn't he?
yeah.
give him out of time.
but we know that Neville didn't want to do it. He
No.
didn't think it was a good idea. So
Okay.
he's not on board with that one. He would do it if we paid him to do it, I suppose, but
Yeah.
when he was here, we did talk about with it, and he did not think it was a good idea.
Okay. Well, we'll find someone who does.
And it was using railway sleepers, potentially using some other product.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
And it would,
Anyway,
it would
I-
run along the path between the wellness centre and down to the drive around the NZ Park.
Yeah,
And as it grew, it may just, come along.
yeah.
Sort of thing, it could be great. And it's something we really want to get off the ground, but we just seem to be going backwards and on.
Well, I think it's a major tourist attraction. I think.
Yes.
So everyone in town can stop there, going to walk across and have a look.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting,
Mm.
really interesting.
And there was donations for sleepers from,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Stuff like that, so,
It's good.
yeah, so as much as we do want to do these things, the interpreter centre is sort of not true in what it's saying in that office comment really, but yeah, so.
And of a budget question, $40,000, is that going to be a yearly, have we put it in the
It's
budget
been-
again for
I will
this?
put it in again.
Yeah.
This year, it's been an ongoing one in there, but hasn't been getting really used.
Okay,
And getting outside funding, like grant funding in it. so.
yeah. But I think that's important as well. If you've got a $40,000 coming into your budget every year, then you can actually leverage that for grant funding, or you can do little projects in between, and if you've got it year by year,
Yeah.
then you can actually get some momentum going.
That's
all.
right. So at the last Townscape meeting, I said no money sort of thing, and so then we looked at what we could do just ourselves, just to keep projects moving forward a little,
Yeah.
but just on a smaller scale, sort of thing. So yeah, so the thing for the Interpreter Centre would be the banner, not as big as what that states, but we want to move forward with that. Yeah, and then yes, civil and or structural engineer to start this CH timeline.
Would council be willing to put funding towards the structural engineer to get that project going?
Well, there's
I think that's
Townscape,
amazing.
Townscape committee, there's Townscape funding in the budget anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, so let's use that. Yeah.
mm.
Use
Yeah,
some of
that's
that.
right.
I think it'd be one of the major ones to get going. So
Yeah.
I know it's been going for a while, we're trying to get it going, but
So, but this resolution's nothing to do with that, is it?
No, it's not. No, I know you just want to.
Can we add it?
Yes,
Just saying, can
please.
you guys focus more on that, please, or
Yeah, but I just wanted to.
can we add that to the resolution here?
No, I just wanted councillors to, once they read the financial implications, strategic community plan and the office comment, I didn't want other councillors to think, gee, we've got to come up with $186,000. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah,
thank you.
I don't know that we want to be telling the Townscape committee what they should be doing either, because then it becomes,
Well, can we-
a bit of the Shires
Why not
again.
have a Townscape committee?
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
think they've got a good project, they've got a big plan, and I think it's been difficult with for probably several reasons, but I think it might create some momentum and I think that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, once
Well,
they've
good.
got it, like you got your plan moving forward, as you said, like just write a letter out to us and request if out of the townscape account, can some of this be paid?
All right.
So we can keep it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with
I think they'll be excited by that.
I reckon. Yep.
All right, any other questions?
Thank
that.
you.
That's good, thank you.
All right, can I have someone to resume standing orders? Councillor Bryant, seconder. Councillor Hepworth, all in favour? Carried 6-0. All right, so can I have someone to recommend the item 13.2, which is the Townscape Committee meeting minutes? Councillor Hepworth and Councillor Campbell, seconded. Councillor Hepworth, would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Campbell?
No, thank you.
No. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. Alright. Item 14.1, the ALGA's 2025 federal election campaign. This came through ALGA and I asked if it could be put into the agenda for this month. It is to support extra funding or continued funding on various levels for local governments. That's all. If anyone would like to move the item or suspend standing orders. Councillor Bryant.
I'd like to move the motion, please.
Motion. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Hepworth. Councillor Bryant, would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Hepworth. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. Proposed schedule of council meetings for 2025-26. Can I have someone to move the item? Councillor Sparkman. Seconded. Councillor Bradford. Councillor Sparkman, would you like to speak to the item?
No.
Councillor Bradford. Anyone against the item? All in favour? Carried 6-0. 15, confidential reports, of which we have none. Ordering the common seal, we don't need to do that. Reports of committees and members. No. Motions of which previous notice has been given. None. Notice of motions. None. New business of an urgent nature admitted by council. None. I will declare the meeting closed at 3:48. And the next meeting will be held on the 22nd of May at the Perenjori Shire Chambers at 3 p.m. Thank you for attending.